Bibles, please turn with me to John chapter 14.
Good, John.
So is it this part of the service where we have communion? It's a time where we remember Jesus dying on the cross and what it means for each of us individually as a person today. We do this by taking out the bread, which represents his body, and the juice that represents his blood. There's also at this time when we have a member of the congregation come up and share to everyone here what the cross means to them at this point in life. And today I have the honour of introducing him with you. She has asked me to read from John chapter 14, verse 27. There it says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." And with that, I give you Emma.
Hello. Thank you, Daniel. As many of you may have known, my name is Emma, and today I have the privilege of sharing what the cross means to me.
Come on.
And to me, the cross means peace. What is peace? Peace is knowing that the Lord of the universe is by your side, resting in that. It's not just knowing, but it's also living it out. Peace is sitting in comfort and knowing that God is by your side no matter what. And as many of you have known, last year I got kicked out twice from my house. The second time was probably the most worst for me because I had to pack everything up and leave. I was in pain and in a lot of tears. I was really hurt that my parents had disowned me. Mean words were said to me, and I was no longer able to get in contact with them. They no longer supported me financially, and it was also difficult. I was struggling both emotionally and spiritually. The sister came and picked me up in the middle of the night, and I love what it says in Matthew 6, and do not worry about anything, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. I didn't know where to go that night, but God provided me with a place to stay with the sisters. God also provided for me with jobs a few weeks later. God was always and forever looking out for me. I felt safe and secured, however I was not at peace. I had not fully surrendered to God, for I still wanted to be in control of my life. My life as a disciple was not always easy, because I had constantly reflected back on my life before I was a disciple. After many weeks had gone by with the help of the kingdom and attending the China conference, it made me realize that this is my true family. Being surrounded by like-minded people who were willing to help and encourage me and supported me. And more importantly, focusing on the mission of seeking and saving the lost. That was hard. That fired me up. And fast forward to 6 months later, my relationship with my family had not been resolved. It was still a bit rocky. But recently, during the flooding, when my parents' house was completely covered with water, my family had wanted me to move back home. They were making a lot of plans for me, which means that I would be away from the kingdom very often, and giving me material things that I would enjoy in life. I love their plans, but I know God's plan is greater. I was tempted to move back home and receive all these great things, but I know in my heart that it would draw me further away from God. I come to a point that I could not battle and win against God. And finally, I chose to surrender myself. After many tears and many conversations with my parents, I got the courage to tell them I chose not to stay with them. I chose to be in the kingdom. And after saying all these things, I felt as if a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And after many months, my parents and siblings finally accepted my decision with no arguments. And before I left home, I even got to kiss my parents goodbye, which is a big thing in the culture. And I feel as if God has also helped resolve my relationship, not only with my parents, but also my sister. I love her so much, but she was so proud of the decision that I've made, that I had stayed true to my conviction and love God after all, above everything else. And when my sister said to me, I'm happy for you, my heart was set free at that moment. And when I see the cross, it reminds me of peace. Jesus was at peace with God's plan in his life, even to the point where his family thought he was crazy. Jesus lived a life of faith and courage. He was always with his disciples. On his way to the cross, he suffered so much, flogged, mocked, spat on, yet he did not once complain towards God or doubt the plan of God. He was at peace with God's will in his life. Jesus fully surrendered to dying on the cross for my sin. When Jesus died on the cross, he not only washed my sins away, but he also gave me a peace in my heart. Peace that transcends all understandings, knowing that no matter what life throws at me, I can still have joy knowing that my victory lies in Jesus Christ, not in myself. Jesus has transformed my thoughts. When I do feel anxious, guilty, or sad, or whatever, Jesus has helped me turn to him in prayer and cast all my worries to him. Heading towards 2 years as a disciple, I've overcome one of my biggest challenges, which I'm super grateful to God for. What has always helped me was one of the biggest scriptures I was shown in Torah, Psalm 119, verses 1 and 2. And seeking God with all my heart, which meant remaining in God by reading and praying every single day and being surrounded by family who loves God and his kingdom. These challenges have given me an opportunity to grow in my walk with God, and trusting God even when I don't know where I am. That's what it has been.
Before we pass around the reading of the Jews, we'll just take a word for prayer. Father God, we just thank you for you gave Jesus